Welcome back. This is Your Town. I'm Marianne Leffel, your host for today, and we're talking about the Monterey Regional Airport and the economic impact, the convenience, and just what a wonderful place it is. So Michael LaPier is my guest today. Michael's the executive director, and we're going to learn all about everything that goes on at the airport.
We'll do our very best to make sure you know everything that's happening.
Okay.
And there's a lot happening.
There is. So our first segment, we talked about the new Denver direct connections twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And those they'll start on October 4th.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
But people can book them now.
They can.
So that's really exciting.
It
so,
is.
And I'm sure the airline monitors advanced bookings.
Oh, they certainly do.
To make sure they didn't make a mistake.
Yeah, and they've communicated with us and about the market itself. And, we're hopeful that on October 4th we have full airplanes, and we continue to have full airplanes throughout the duration of the service. So.
Terrific.
Yeah.
I don't, we don't often think about parking and all of that. We just kind of take it for granted. But when you just look at the parking at the Monterey Regional Airport and how convenient everything is, you can get parked and get in there and get through ticketing and TSA really in about 15, 20 minutes.
That's
You're
true.
done.
Yeah, that's true. We don't advertise that, and we shouldn't encourage that, but it really is pretty convenient and easy. When you think about it this way, you can get up in the morning for a 6 a.m. flight. You can get up at whatever time you need to, be at the airport at 5 o'clock, and by 6 you're in the air, rather than having to overnight in San Francisco or in some cases San Jose. This is so much more convenient. And we've done some studies on cost. One of the things we always hear is the cost differential. It's so much cheaper to fly out of the Bay Area. It really isn't. On average, a ticket out of Monterey Regional Airport is about $50 more than a ticket out of the Bay Area. There are some times when we're actually cheaper. And the airport doesn't control, the community doesn't control the pricing, but when you look at an average fare of $50 difference, then you start to ask the question, what's my time worth? And it's becoming increasingly difficult to drive to the Bay Area, including San Jose. And that $50 starts to look like a pretty nice investment for a couple hours extra sleep and a little less hassle in the car as you drive to the airport.
I have family in San Jose, so I'm up there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible. I used to be able to make it my door to their door in about an hour and 5 minutes. And now I always leave 2 hours.
Sure.
Because you just cannot count on it that there's some kind of a stall north of Prunedale or another big slowdown between Morgan Hill and South San Jose. Those are the two biggest choke points. Mm-hmm. But was it a week ago, I think, that the big rig caught on fire on Sargent's Bridge and stopped 101 cold. It took people 8 hours to get from South San Francisco to the Monterey Peninsula, and that's just insane.
That is.
If you were trying to catch a flight on top of that, it'd make you weep.
It is, and that we don't look at that dynamic as changing anytime soon. Mm-hmm. The population base in Silicon Valley and in the Bay Area is continuing to grow. Cost of housing is forcing people to look outward for places to live, which means that they start to come in the direction of those outlying communities, and we are now in that sphere of influence as Monterey and as Salinas and as Watsonville. We start to see those people moving here for quality of life, for cost of housing, and that's our target market. That if you spin the clock back a little while, that's what really grew San Jose into the third major airport hub in the Bay Area. Now, I don't see us ever being the next San Jose, but I see some opportunities moving our way in terms of the population. And most of the time, particularly when you go into the East Coast, you don't leave from your office to go to the airport. You'll leave from home because flying to the East Coast usually means an early morning departure.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of the convenience of Monterey Regional Airport is we're just that much closer and we're just that much more convenient. Our wait times and security are less. Parking is walkable. You don't have extra time you have to plan to take a bus. And if it's only $50 more, maybe it starts to make some economic sense as well.
Well, and the parking is considerably less. When you look at that, if you're going to park for 3-4 days. And we have the convenience of both taxi cabs, Lyft, Uber. So we've got all types of ways that people can get to and from the airport in this community. We have really all the amenities that there are in a bigger city. I like to say we are a micropolitan.
That's an interesting description, but it's probably pretty apt.
So we have everything they have in a big area. We just have it on a smaller scale.
We do.
So it's a pretty perfect place to live, and the airport is an integral part of that.
It has to be. For the community to do well, the airport needs to do well, and vice versa. It's a symbiotic relationship between air travel, whether that's private or commercial, and economic growth and vibrance in the community. We are a global economy, whether we believe that or not. We do business internationally from Monterey and from our region, and we need to be able to provide that connectivity so that the goods and services that are offered and made here are accessible both inwardly and outwardly.
Yeah, no, I love it. Let's talk about the FBO a minute, the Monterey Jet Center.
Right.
They have consistently been either the number 1 or 2 or 3 FBO in North America.
Right.
And when you look at their operation down there, it's pretty amazing.
It is.
And I'm not at the airport nearly as much as you are, but I see that they are really increasingly busy and seem to have a really good client pool, which also lends itself to international flights and to people coming in.
It does. And the product that is offered here in terms of things to do, everything from Pebble Beach to Big Sur, to the industries that we have here, to the aquarium, they all have international components to their visitorship. If you go out to Pebble Beach, you see that just as many people from foreign countries are playing Pebble Beach, the golf course, as are people locally or from the United States. We need to capture some of that. We need to make sure that segment becomes more convenient for them to continue to use that service. And we see an increasing presence of Chinese travelers into the community, and that's important for us to recognize and be aware of. And the FBO does a lot of that. We're having some discussions with them, and they're having discussions with Customs and Border Patrol about long-term having customs at the airport, not just for commercial services we've talked about, but for that private enterprise as well. As I indicated, we had some flights nonstop from China that cleared customs here on a special case basis. But when you look at the activity at the FBO, you start to look at where these folks are coming from, where these aircraft are coming from, and a good portion of that is international travel. And for us to be even more convenient for them to get here, which is going to be an incentive for them to continue to come, we need to address that issue, because those aircraft have to stop somewhere and clear customs where, in some cases, not all, but in some, they could realistically clear customs in Monterey, which saves them a lot of time and a lot of hassle. It's not easy to clear customs in Los Angeles or San Francisco or Seattle. Those are busy ports of entry, and if we can be a port of entry and provide that convenience, it's just one more arrow in our quiver for increased business.
Well, I was associated with a group about 6 weeks ago that actually cleared customs down in Los Angeles and then came up and got off their jet into their SUV straight for a tea time at Pebble. And the ladies all got into a separate vehicle and went straight to Carmel for shopping. And then they all met back later on that evening after golfing and shopping and dinner and back out.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting dynamic that I think most of our community has no idea that that sort of thing goes on.
It's
on a pretty regular basis.
That's very true. And when you look at just the people, the names that go through our airport to do that very thing, it's pretty impressive. That's one thing this community does not lack, and that's a brand identity throughout the United States and internationally. People know Monterey, they know Pebble Beach, they know Big Sur. So brand identity isn't our problem. People know about us and they want to be here for obvious reasons. And for us to capitalize on that and make it easier for them to come here just makes it that much more attractive. And that's our mission, and that's the mission of our FBO too. And we've got a great operation there. It's locally owned, which is unusual for such a successful business. And they continually strive to increase their business, and they're doing a great job of it.
No, I think they're a great partner.
They are.
You know, it's interesting. The last time I was in Europe, it didn't matter where we were. If people would say, "Where are you from?" You'd say, "I'm from California," and "I'm from Monterey," and they go, "These are the two words." Oh, Clint and Pebble Beach. Those are the two that they appear to know no matter where you are.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of funny because I think Clint Eastwood was mayor in 1982 for 2 years.
It's a pretty big name. He's done a little bit of marketing on his own too, so people know it. But the fact that he's here just adds to that brand identity. A few weeks ago, they announced that the #1 barbecue place in the United States is in Prunedale.
Yes.
These are things that add to that brand identity that people know about us.
And the #1 resort in California is Post Ranch, and it's #4 in North America. I mean, Carmel comes out consistently in the top 10 places anybody ever wants to be in the world. It's pretty amazing.
It is. It truly is. And
we take it for granted.
We do. That's very true. We do in the community and at the airport. We've taken it for granted that people know about us and they're going to come. That's not always the case. And if you've been here and you understand it. But if you haven't been here but you know about it, our job is to make sure you come, because the place sells itself once you're here. And for us to be a part of that discussion, we need the airport to be successful, and we need the airport to provide that level of service that helps the community do what it does best, and that's sell itself.
Well, and I think it's like anything. You can bring something to a community, but if the community doesn't appreciate it and use it, how many people say, "Oh, I want that flight to Denver. I want that flight to Denver." And now we have it.
That's true.
So now is the time to put your butt in the seat and use the Monterey Regional Airport to go east or to go to Denver or to go wherever you're going.
Yep.
Because it will be monitored carefully by the bean counters at United.
Absolutely.
And if it's not successful, it goes away. And, we've seen that happen before. So it's up to the community now that it's here to use it and to show their appreciation for it.
That's so true. We don't, as the airport, put butts in seats. The airline doesn't put butts in seats. It's our responsibility to fill those butts in seats so that the airline is successful. It's a pretty simple economics 101 equation when you find it down to that level. But we've got something now that this community has wanted back for some time, has coveted for some time. When I came here a little over 3 years ago, that was the #1 thing people would say to me: "You've got to get Denver back." We did it. We did it as a community, and Denver's back. Now it's important that we support it, but it's also important that we support our other carriers as well. And we want to keep American happy and healthy. We want to make sure that Alaska grows and expands its presence here in this market. We want to make sure that Allegiant, which is a different level of market that provides some new opportunities for us as well, that they're happy and healthy here. So growing that relationship between the community and the airport and the services that are offered at the airport is vital.
Yeah, I love watching people get on the Allegiant flight. They are a happy group. Sometimes they're not quite so happy returning, but when they're going, they are ecstatic.
It's very true. The vacation starts sometimes in the terminal building when you're waiting for the Allegiant flight.
Or in the limo on the way to the airport,
Perhaps,
maybe.
Yeah. But it's a great feeling.
It is.
That's one of the reasons I got into this business, was just watching that and experiencing it and seeing and just playing that game of, I wonder where they're going, or I wonder what they're doing. That's what really made me excited about airports and about being a part of airports. And I've been doing this for, as you said, over 30 years now, and it's still exciting every day.
No, it is exciting, and it's exciting to be part of it.
It is.
When I decided that I might like to be part of it, I just saw it as an economic opportunity that was not being utilized to its potential, and thought, maybe I can add a little expertise and learn more about it and be part of a success. And
Sure.
It's exhilarating to see it. It's disheartening when all of a sudden we wake up and find something gone. But I think we're certainly on a good trajectory right now, and it's up to the community to really support it and get behind it. So all we can say is fly Monterey,
That's
right?
it, exactly. As often and as frequently as you can, fly Monterey.
So don't go away. We'll be right back. I'm Mary Ann Leffel, and I'm your host today on YourTown. Thank you.